We now have confirmed reports that the interest in Luis Diaz is real from the Saudi side. What's up guys, it's James from CopLogic. Welcome back to the channel. A couple of things to talk about today, so let's jump right into the news. Before we get started, do make sure to hit that like button if you appreciate the videos because it really helps us out, and subscribe if you want to stay up to date. So the situation with Fabinho. So it's been reported that a full agreement has been reached with Al-Ittihad. The Saudi club are now awaiting the release of funds from the Saudi government to finalize their deal, which is how those government funded clubs work. So we believe that the deal it's basically done. Liverpool are just waiting to get paid now. We knew this was going to happen anyway, which is why Fabinho never got on the plane for Germany. And reports actually suggest Fabinho's already completed his medical, which is probably what he's been doing instead of training with the team in Germany. So Ittihad are ready to close this deal at this point. So Fabinho is definitely leaving the club, and with that in mind, Liverpool now have a short list of targets. And I say short list, it's actually fairly long. We're going to go over a few of those players right now, but it's a number of targets that Liverpool are looking at in order to replace Fabinho. This is, we're talking about here, an experienced player that can come in and start games in that 6th position, because obviously I don't think the club were actually expecting to lose Fabinho, but it is what it is. It's happened. First things first, we've got João Palhinha and Cheikh Doucouré, two players with some Premier League experience. Now this is coming from Ian Doyle, and he says João Palhinha is a possibility to replace Fabinho. However, Liverpool would ideally like a younger player, with Crystal Palace's Cheikh Doucouré in mind. Now feel free to pause the video at any point if you want to check those stats in more detail, but obviously, as talks advance with certain players, we will do videos focusing on them specifically where we will go through those stats. The one thing I want to say on Cheikh Doucouré is I actually do like the look of him. He's only 23 years old, so he's fairly young still, plenty of room for development. He's got a year's experience in the Premier League already, and I must say, looking at his stats compared to Fabinho's, he actually looks like he could be a really promising replacement. We've also heard reports that we're looking at Ibrahim Sangare and also Florentino Luis. According to David Lynch, Florentino Luis has been frequently watched by Liverpool in recent years and has many admirers at Kirby. The chances of a move for him this summer are currently being played down, but we did hear exactly the same reports about Szoboszlai, and you know what happened there. He ended up coming through the door, so that's not necessarily bad news. It could be Liverpool trying to push other targets to the forefront. Hopefully this next one in Calvin Phillips is just a smokescreen, because a player like, I think Florentino Luis would be perfect. I also think Cheikh Doucouré would be perfect, so one of them would do me. Moving on to Calvin Phillips, as I just mentioned, he's also been linked. He does have a number of years experience in the Premier League, but despite that, I don't think he's up to standard. He's not been getting game time with City, and this one's a big no for me. I know he's English, and they're probably looking at that, especially in the case that Jordan Henderson might leave, but I really do not want Calvin Phillips. He's probably my lowest priority on this list so far. There are other targets. It's a very long shortlist. These ones seem like they've had the most noise about them, and obviously as talks advance, we will cover these players in more detail, so make sure you subscribe if you want to be here for when that happens. Reports suggest that Liverpool are pushing for 2 signings before the trip to Singapore. Talks continue for Henderson, so this deal is by no means dead as well. The club still, it looks like, are pushing to get Henderson out. We know the player wants to leave, so I think it's just best for all parties at this point that gets done. It feels like it's still likely to go through. I would imagine the 2 signings they're talking about, one will be Lavia and one will be one of these players from the shortlist, because the Lavia deal also not dead in the water. It's just the problem is he's only 19 years old. He's got very limited experience, and I don't think we could bring him in as a direct replacement for Fabinho. But very promising things. I did say a couple of days ago, expect more signings, and I still think that's going to happen. It looks like Klopp wants to get 2 more people in before the move to Singapore for pre-season, so potentially very exciting news on the horizon. And finally, we heard yesterday about interest for Luis Diaz from Al-Hilal. We now have confirmed reports that the interest in Luis Diaz is real from the Saudi side. However, Diaz has given no indication he's open to leaving, and Liverpool have no intention of letting him go. This is according to James Pearce from The Athletic. Fairly trustworthy source, and we've also seen that there's no real noise that Liverpool have any indication of letting him go, so I would believe that one. The rumoured bid is only expected to be around 43 to 50 million anyway, which is in line with previous Saudi numbers. 47 million is the highest they've bid for a player so far. That was a Premier League start in Ruben Neves, and I don't think 50 million would be enough to prize Luis Diaz away from Liverpool, so don't really think there's anything in that. But that's pretty much it for today. As I said, if you want to stay up to date on all those players as talks advance with them and get the lowdown on these 2 signings that will be joining Liverpool as and when it happens, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you did enjoy the video, give it a like because it really helps us out, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.